you are someone who gets intensely angry, angry often, or you're chronically angry, or you have a tendency to suppress your anger, this video is for you because you may not be aware of the physical impact that your anger has on your body. And today, I'm going to talk about that. So come on in, let's get going. Welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Tracy Dickens, a psychologist. And if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found the channel. And if you've been here before, well, heck, welcome back. Anger impacts our mental health, physical health, and our relationships. Before I get going, I want you to know that anger is not a bad emotion. Anger is just an emotion, and all emotions are messengers telling us about a need or a value that is requiring our attention. Most of us don't realize the impact that anger has on our body. Research shows that people who are chronically angry, who express anger in intense ways, or who suppress anger, those people report higher blood pressure, more headaches, skin disorders like eczema. They are at higher risk for strokes. They also report more anxiety and depression, more gastrointestinal issues or digestive problems, and they often report more relationship conflicts or dissatisfaction. So how does this all happen? How does an emotion that's neither good nor bad have such an impact on our body? Well, I'm glad you asked. Anger is experienced as fight or flight in our body. Maybe you're thinking, why is anger fight or flight? Well, this is why. As I mentioned earlier, anger arises whenever something we value or something we need is being threatened or we're being thwarted for meeting that need. And because of that, we experience it as a threat to our ability to live, function, have peace, happiness, joy. And so fight or flight kicks in. And when fight or flight is triggered, our body releases adrenaline and cortisol. And those two chemicals set a chain of events in action in our body. Specifically, our blood flow shifts from our smaller muscles and goes directly towards our larger muscles, such as our biceps and our thighs and our heart, and it shifts away from our digestive system. So if we need to fight or flee, we have the energy to do that. How our insulin impacts our body is also shifted. Glucose stores to be released to fuel our system for a fight or a flee. There is an increase in perspiration. There is a focusing of your eyesight on the potential threat. And a lot of people will talk about having tunnel vision, which is great for survival. Because there's somebody coming at you with a weapon, you need to not pay attention to the old lady crossing the street and pay attention to the person coming at you with the weapon. Some other things you'll notice is that your blood pressure will increase, your heart rate will increase, your ability to logic through the situation will decrease. So if you've ever been around somebody who's really angry, your ability to reason with them goes completely out the window. As you can see, there's so many changes in how your body functions. Now, on a short-term basis, you get angry at your child for doing something, it's no big deal. But if you're getting angry with your child on a regular basis, or you're getting angry with your partner on a regular basis, or angry about the ills of the world every single day, well, our body just isn't meant to function in a different way on an ongoing basis. I'll give you this analogy. Imagine that you have a rural road and every day you start sending large 18-wheelers down this road every single day. Well, most rural roads aren't designed with the idea that 18-wheelers are going to be going down that road on a regular basis. The foundation isn't equipped to deal with that much weight. Over time, you'll start to see cracks in the road. The people around might have foundation problems in their home. It's just going to cause problems. Well, our system is the same way. Our body is not designed to have that change in blood flow and blood pressure and glucose levels and brain function. It's just not designed to have that ongoing change in its function. And so depending on your unique genetic makeup, wherever you have weaknesses in your system, that constant flow of adrenaline and cortisol and the changes that it does to your body starts to wear down the systems where those weaknesses are. And then that's when you get some of the health problems that I mentioned before. I know. It's like I'm a Debbie Downer with this video. But here's the thing. I'm doing this series because I know most of us struggle with anger. I would dare to say most of us haven't really learned how to experience any of our emotions, less and least of all, anger. And because of that, we don't know how to express it, what it means, or how to address it when it shows up. And so that's why I wanted to do this series, and especially right before the summer, because in the summer with the heat, and tempers tend to flare even more. Yes, there's research about that in the summer, there tends to be more aggression and anger because people are out, they get hot, they start drinking alcohol, and the combination just leads to all kinds of problems. And so I want this series to give you hope that, okay, I'm not the only one who struggles with this at some level, and you're going to learn tools that are going to help you with it. And it's going to start right here, right now. I'm going to give you a few things to start doing right now before we get into the other videos where we really start hammering out things that you can do to learn how to express your anger in an adaptive way. Grab a pen and some paper because you're going to start writing some things down, because the first thing you want to do when you're learning how to understand and express your anger in an adaptive way is increase your awareness. Step number 1, identify what makes you angry. What are the things that tend to get your blood going? I can tell you, for me, I know exactly the things that can take me from 0 to 100 really quickly. If people are abusing power, if somebody's being condescending to somebody, those things absolutely send me over the edge. The next thing you want to identify is, what is it about those situations that makes you angry? Like I was saying about abuse of power. Well, for me, when somebody's abusing power, it sends this message that somehow this person's better and this person's less than. And we all have value, and we all have worth, and we all have something to contribute. And so when someone has power and they are using that to be abusive or toxic to people, taking advantage of people, absolutely burns me up. Next, you want to know, how do I tend to express my anger? Do I tend to suppress it? Do I kind of sit on it and, hope that eventually it will go away? For all you people out there that like to suppress your emotions, I'm going to give you this lovely nugget of an analogy. Your leftovers that you put in the refrigerator and you forget that they're there until you can't forget that they're there? Yeah. That's what happens when we shove and suppress and try to ignore and deny our emotions. They have a way of seeping out and taking over, and they're gonna be stinky. Yeah. So, but no, how do you tend to express them? Do you yell? Do you scream? Do you punch? Do you eat? Do you gossip? Do you give people the silent treatment? Like, when you're angry, how do you tend to express that anger? And then you need to look at, where did you learn that? Like, who taught you how to express your anger that way? And this is not a blame game or going after somebody, but sometimes understanding that I'm doing something because this is what I've been taught or shown. It helps us kind of sort through how to make changes and recognize that, hey, I learned this, which means I can learn something different. And then the final thing I want you to recognize is, how has your anger impacted your health? And this means mental health, because as I mentioned earlier, anger can increase your anxiety and your depression. How has it affected your physical health? How has it affected the health of your relationships, like with your friendships and coworkers and supervisors? And how has your anger impacted your relationship with God? A lot of times we believe that anger is a sin and we don't go to God with our anger. And acknowledging that, hey, you know what? I'm trying to fight these battles on my own, and I'm doing it in a way that is toxic or unhealthy, or it's hurting me or hurting other people, acknowledging that and going to God and saying, hey, help me with this. Or just starting to understand the story of your anger, because we can't change something if we don't understand it. And so the more you know about the who, what, when, why, and where of your anger, the more equipped you'll be at, well, learning something different and changing it. It's all a process. Okay, so that's all the information that I have for you today. Let me know down below what information was most helpful, impactful for you. And as always, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. And push the like button down below so YouTube knows that you like this kind of content and want more of it. And share with your friends and family. And subscribe so you can come back and hang out with me. And until next time, choose joy. Take care.